I'm Jayaditya Gupta. You can call me Jay for short. And I'm going to present today on my project, state channels, and what are we trying to do with state channels. The project is called Channel 4, and it's an POC demo and introduction to what we are trying to do and researching on state channels. So a bit about me. Who am I? I'm a software engineer at Privacy and Scaling team at Ethereum Foundation, part of Ethereum. Before that, I used to work at CERN, European Organization for Nuclear Research. I was a software engineer in the cloud team. And I'm also a gamer, game developer, and love to travel, and a big-time open source contributor. So just a quick overview of what is state channel. We won't go too deep. It's a lightning talk, so we'll go fast. So state channel is an off-chain technique where you do transactions. Instead of mainnet, you take a separate chain and you do the transactions on it. So two participants can take part, or multiple participants can take part in it, and they can do n number of transactions until they reach on a state, a concluding state that they both decide upon. So once that state is reached, they can just submit the end state or the transaction to the mainnet, and thus saving the cost on the mainnet. So as we all know, mainnet is expensive to do very small transactions. So the idea behind state channel is just to take all of that small transactions. It can be any kind of transactions, mostly those transactions where you have some kind of counter. So you can just move them to the off-chain, and once you have reached a concluding state, you can send it to the mainnet. So once the state is reached, you send it to the state. So why use state channels? Like, it's a layer 2 optimization technique. It allows you for lightning fast transactions, mainly because you do the transactions on off-chain. You don't have to wait for the block to be mined and then reflect on the main chain. You can do everything on the off-chain. It has low transaction fees compared to mainnet. A quite low transaction, I will show you later, like what the fees we were getting on the off-chain and compared to the main chain. And you can scale quite big with the state channel techniques. Mostly on the sense if you have a mesh network or a low-cost transaction networks, at those places, state channels really shine. So in my opinion, from what I have researched so far, any kind of application that has some kind of counter, like games or any application that can use counters, is a perfect place where you can apply state channel techniques. So Channel 4 POC, Channel 4 is the code name for my project. It started in early January as a grantee with the Ethereum Foundation. Now it's a full-time project with EF. The goal of the project is to research about state channel techniques and in the end make a protocol and framework that people can use on. So currently we are researching by making small proof of concepts and showcasing it to the community and getting feedback from them. So there's already some work on web regarding state channels, but most of them are based on the games or like tic-tac-toe or any kind of counters, like sending messages. That's it. So we wanted to try a bit different approach, make a web app. If you are from early to adopter of internet from the 2000s, you might have heard about the StumbleUpon website. It was a very popular website before search engines were popular. So we made a POC based around that. So I will quickly demo the proof of concept for that. If we can load it. Okay, it won't play. It's fine. You can try the POC by scanning the QR code, and also you can remember the URL. It's very simple. So the POC is basically demonstrating how you can submit the URLs to a central repository. It's on blockchain. You can upvote or downvote the URLs, and if you select tags, for example, gaming, retro, technology, it will show you all the random websites based on that, and then you can upvote or downvote on them. So it's useful if you hate all the algorithms, like which keep on recommending you same stuff. Like for example, YouTube, if you watch, let's say, funny skateboarding videos, it will keep on recommending you funny skateboard videos. So with this, it's not like that. It's completely random. You just choose a topic and you just start discovering new content. There's no algorithm, even though we use upvotes and downvotes, but there's no recommendation algorithm behind it. So things that we learned from POC 1 from the community feedback was, first thing was the cost was extremely less with using state channel. When we were doing simple tasks such as just submitting a URL or just submitting a single URL, upvoting or downvoting, it was costing us 0.00100 for ETH. But this is now the total cost for n number of operations. So it doesn't matter if you do 100 upvotes, 100 downvotes, or submit 100 URLs. Every single one of them will cost the same amount. So faster transactions, again, I mentioned in the beginning, you don't have to wait for the block to be mined. It's automatic, it's off-chain, so it's faster. And then it will go to the mainnet. So challenges with the POC we saw were security. Since everything was off-chain on the client side, it was easy to tamper with. That's why solution was to implement a central hub or central server, like a proxy, which will interact directly with the smart contract instead of user. So user will only interact with the channel 4 server, and then everything will be done to this, on the smart contract. Reason for this is we cannot do every validation on smart contract because it will be too expensive. So to reduce the cost, we are using a central server. So the roadmap is for POC2, we are trying to aiming at end of June, and then POC3, we will actually working on the framework and the protocol for this. It's POC2 is in work in progress. So goal of the project is making a protocol, making lightning fast payments, a framework for this, and hopefully making a mesh network from it. So the team initially was just Chiali and me. I'm at the end, and Chiali is in the beginning. Now we are a team of 6 people, everyone from EF Foundation, and specializing in their own fields. So you can join us by scanning the QR code, and we'll be happy to welcome the community. And if you want to contribute, there are guidelines for it. Thank you.